And here's your host, Chelsea Edwards.
Hey, besties. Welcome to another episode of Chattin with Chelsea. I'm your daytime bestie, Chelsea Edwards. Today, we are chatting about the signs that parents should not ignore when it comes to speech and language development in their children. We're also talking about support that is available. We also need to recognize the people shaping the next generation. And we're doing that through an organization that is making a big impact in classrooms. Because, you know, our teachers, they not only deserve a standing ovation, but they probably could use paid nap breaks too, right? So let's just show them how truly appreciated they are, like this.
Miss Kraft, I wish I could stay. She's actually moving to another state at the end of the school year, so it really will be goodbye. And she traced my hand today, so she would always have my handprint. Anyway, in the end, Miss Kraft, I will always love you, and I do. It's Teacher Appreciation Week, and I appreciate all of this. It's fabulous. But the sweet notes from my kids, priceless. Okay, we're not going to end that video in tears, so I thought I'd share this. This is me. I'm a superhero. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh, so many emotions in that video.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Welcome to Chattin with Chelsea. Stephanie Cruz, Managing Director at Good Reason Houston, and Sean Bingham. You were a high school teacher over at Aldine ISD.
Yes,
so,
that is correct.
Both of y'all might have some emotions about that. Did we get a little pitter-patter of the heart?
Absolutely. I was like, don't cry now. That's not the time. She couldn't end on a cry, and I couldn't start with the cry.
Yes. Now, we just had Teacher Appreciation Week, but Good Reason Houston really works closely with teachers, with staff, really trying to create better outcomes for students throughout the Houston area and beyond, really. So let's talk more about Good Reason Houston. Let's start there. How would you all describe it?
Yeah, so Good Reason Houston is an organization that's working with educators, parents, families entirely, communities, and policymakers, and really thinking about how do we transform outcomes for students in Houston? How do we make Houston the best place for public education? And in that work, we're partnering with people across 25 school systems, about 900 schools, serving over 700,000 students.
Wow.
And so that's a huge piece of Houston. And we know that there's so much more beyond that, of course, but we're thinking about how do we do this here and stay focused on the Houston area.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to get more kids across the stage, get that diploma, right?
Yes, and we want them to graduate and be able to earn at least a living wage, which in Houston is $43,000 by the research and guidelines. And so we want them to be able to earn at least that to really be set forth to thrive in their lives and be able to make good choices later.
And Sean, what have you seen through Good Reason Houston?
Oh my goodness, I've seen a lot. I have been blessed to have been their first leadership cohort. And from that cohort, I didn't think myself as a leader, but now that I went through the cohort, I feel like that I'm a leader, and also just a support, just the energy of being around other educators like myself who need that safe space where we can just be empowered, but at the same time inspired.
Now you hear me, I love that. How do you connect with teachers like Sean to get them in these programs?
Yes, so we have an initiative called Houston Loves Teachers, which I have the great privilege of leading for Good Reason Houston. And through that, we are connecting with teachers throughout the region throughout the year, but especially this year, we targeted about 20 teachers in a leadership cohort to think about how could we support them personally and professionally to improve their desire to stay in this profession, to do deep and meaningful work, but also thinking about how do we then, now that we've piloted this with an incredible cohort group, how do we scale this and provide opportunities to more teachers across the region? And so sometimes that looks like celebratory treats and coffee trucks on campuses. And sometimes that looks like deeper work where we're thinking about coaching, we're thinking about real-time feedback and otherwise as well.
I love that. So you're not just, pulling up with some donuts, but you're listening to the teachers and getting feedback about what they need to stay long-term in these careers. Because we all know teachers work hard.
Yeah. Yes. That's true, we do.
All right, so we're going to talk more about all the work that you all are doing and the effects of that work. We're going to take a quick break first. We'll be right back after this.
Come back to me.
Good Reason Houston is on a mission to make Houston the top education city in the nation. And you were making moves towards doing that. Stephanie Cruz and Sean Bingham, a teacher, you've been a part of this program as well. So let's talk about the cohort. Let's get into that because I want to know what that looks like when a teacher is in it. Are we talking months of training? What does it look like for us, Sean?
Well, what it looks like is a small community where we come together and we talk about things such as confidence, how do we deal with problem solving. And one of the things that I loved the most about it was just not a gripe session, but it was a gripe session figuring out what can we do to be better. And I love that because we was able to be raw and uncut and talk about issues that we deal with and not be in a judgment zone. And that's what it looked like. Of course, good food as well. But it was just a sense of community and belonging. And even just thinking about it makes me just stand in awe that something like Good Reason Houston has that for teachers because many teachers are walking away. But now we have a community, I'm staying. For the long haul, so
we need y'all to stay.
Yes.
So Stephanie, what have we seen since Good Reason Houston has been in action on this mission?
Yeah, so so much of it, like we hear all the time from teachers, but a lot of it comes to that video. It's just like those moments of appreciation and feeling seen and knowing that you're making an impact counts so much. And Houston teachers aren't getting enough of that, and we need them to stay. They are some of the most impactful people in our community, and we know they're the #1, research shows, the #1 factor in school factor in a student's student achievement. And so we want great teachers to choose Houston. And so through this work, we're connecting with them. We're making sure that they get those moments of feeling seen, knowing that they're doing great, meaningful work. And in our cohort, we have the opportunity to dig a little bit deeper than that too. We've got a full year. We actually intended for it to be a semester, and they asked for it to be extended to a year.
Oh, really?
And so we did it. But we get really deep conversations. We talk every day. And we have meetings on Saturdays once a month. We have virtual sessions during the month, and they have access to coaching office hours and otherwise throughout the year to support them and help meet them wherever they are. And so whether that's navigating a classroom challenge, a school challenge, a different thing, whatever it is, we're there to be a sounding board and a partner in working through those.
Sean, how does feeling that appreciation, how does that pour into the students and the results that you see in them?
Well, it empowers me more now. I got into teaching to empower and to inspire students, but this year alone with Good Reason Houston and Houston Love Teachers, they have given me a passion that has always been there, but this year I feel like that it was ignited. And that is why at the end of every class I tell my students, if anybody tells they love you today, Mr. B loves you, because I want them to see that someone poured into me and I'm just reciprocating by pouring into them.
Not an empty cup. That's what we want.
Exactly.
Right.
What are some other ways, especially for Teacher Appreciation Week, that this Houston Loves Teachers program has made a difference?
Yes. So, last week we got to probably about 15 campuses or events throughout the Houston area. And a lot of that looks like a coffee truck in the morning to meet them and say, good morning, you can pick whatever you want, which sounds silly, but it goes a long way.
I would love that here.
And the messages I got about the coffee truck and being able to pick whatever drink you want were so funny to me, but so exciting. You see that spark an appreciation for that. But then it also was, we gave out gift cards, thankful to our partners, Citgo and Chevron, are big supporters of Houston Loves Teachers, and so we were grateful for their support to be able to deliver that to teachers and invest in their next steps or whatever that might look like for the future. So pouring into their future commitments to students and education.
Yeah, so what about those future commitments? What are we looking at long term when it comes to Houston Loves Teachers and Good Reason Houston?
Yeah, so I think for last week, what it looks like in some of those cases is some of our cohort members are looking at getting additional certifications. That might be expanding into a new grade levels served. It might look like special education or other specialties in there, or advancing into principalship and thinking about how do they want to support other teachers in the same way that they've seen, and being able to help ignite that passion across the region. And I always tell the cohort, y'all are just like, we're pouring into you, but y'all are going to ripple out into the world. And what we're doing here, this is just the beginning. And they've also created their own capstone projects that they're looking to share and inspire new solutions towards problems that they're facing and thinking about that. So as he talked about being a problem solver and other pieces, like we want teachers to know that they are leaders, and in the classroom, yes, you are a teacher, but you as a teacher can change so much, and you have the solutions right there. And so how do we learn more about those and elevate them and celebrate them and invest in them?
Yeah, so well, Sean, congratulations on being Teacher of the Year
Thank
for your
you.
school.
Thank
Could
you.
you see yourself becoming a principal?
No. No. No.
You're good where you are.
I'm good where I'm at. I'm good where I'm at.
I love it.
And we love that too. Like when we started this program, we told the teachers, like, we want y'all to be great teachers. Like, this is not about necessarily moving into a different step or otherwise. Obviously, if you are prepared for that and inspired to do that, we want you to follow that calling. But we also know that we need great teachers in classrooms, and we need to like elevate that as like a lifelong teacher and an expert in that delivers so much for students and student impact. And so we want to make sure teachers know they are doing the Lord's work in those classrooms, and we need them to keep doing that.
Yes, amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the work that both of you do. And you mentioned you also work with parents as well. So how can they connect with you guys and any teachers who may be watching to find out more information?
Yes, so they can certainly follow Good Reason Houston. That's a great hub for all of our audiences. And we also have a Parent Action Network that's available too. So that's another group that's convening and helping empower parents and otherwise. And then we also have our Houston Loves Teachers social media and website. So HoustonLovesTeachers.org or Houston Loves Teachers on social media to follow us for all teacher-facing stuff.
Oh, we appreciate it so much. Keep empowering our teachers and our parents.
Yes.
And everybody else. We want these great outcomes that you guys are
This is a team sport.
working on.
We need
Yes.
everyone in the game and thinking about public education.
That's
So.
right. Go team. Yeah. We got it. We got it. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. So our children can develop differently, but sometimes there's evidence that they may need a little more support when it comes to language development. So here to chat about it, we've got Jasmine Nelson and Tiffany James of Pediatric World of Therapy.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about what you all do there.
So at Pediatric World of Therapy, we take inpatient clients and we do speech therapy services. We work with children who have articulation issues, language development issues, social communication issues, and fluency issues, which most people know as stuttering.
Okay, so what are some signs, aside from stuttering, that our children might need a little help when it comes to language development?
So a couple things to look at. If you kind of witness your child with limited vocabulary or difficulty with combining words, for example, if a toddler isn't using many words yet, or if you have an older child who's struggling with putting short phrases together or sentences together, that can be an indication of concern. It can also show up as behavior issues, right? Because when you struggle with communicating, you become frustrated. So parents may notice meltdowns or withdrawal in social settings, just overall behavior issues. So we just want to watch out for that as well.
So you mentioned toddlers. How early are we talking with the age group where we should be paying attention and looking for these signs?
So our youngest client currently right now is 2. We don't like to compare, right? But if your child is not speaking like the other children their age, that may be a red flag or a warning sign. And like we always say, early intervention is key. So if you're having any doubt, whatever it is, always reach out to a speech and language professional. You can either go through your pediatrician can refer you, and we can do something as simple as a parent consultation where we talk about what's going on and what's the uneasiness. Because sometimes maybe we can give you some tools or strategies to work on with your child at home. So definitely that difficulty being understood, and also if they're seeming to have difficulty understanding language or following directions, that's a key component as well, right? Because if you're telling them something as simple as, you know, go hang up your coat, and maybe they're not understanding, that can be a red flag. And those are just things, a part of the different day-to-day that if they're having trouble with, it's definitely good to reach out to a professional.
Okay, yes. My 5-year-old talks fluently, but he will still not hang up his coat when I tell him.
That was just an example. And just because you bring them in for an evaluation, it doesn't necessarily mean that something is wrong, right? It's just the first step into figuring out, okay, what support does my child need, or what support do I need to help, further along their communication skills. So we don't want parents to look at it like, well, it's a red flag, or because maybe they just need a little additional support.
What does the experience look like for the children, especially for the little ones? What does that look like?
For the little ones, it's going to be more so play-based therapy. We're not expecting a 2-year-old, 3-year-old to necessarily sit still at a table to do structured speech therapy. So we get down on the floor with them. We play with them. Our office has a sensory gym in there, so we may take them and play in the ball pit, but everything we're doing is intentional. It's to develop that functional language. So we may look like we're playing with toys and things like that, but we're actually trying to elicit that language to help them expand on what they already have.
And most of it is child-led, right? So we're just following their lead. They want to walk over to the kitchen and play with that, and we're just listening that language. Okay, you have a spoon. What do we do with the spoon? We eat with the spoon. So a lot of it, like Jasmine said, is play-based, it's child-led, just to make them basically feel like we're not forcing them.
Yeah, it's coming naturally.
Yes.
Are there a certain points or number of words that they have to hit for certain ages in order to know that they are doing all right, they can move on or exit the program, anything like that, certain guidelines?
Yes, so we establish what's called a plan of care. Going back to what you said about, is there a certain number of words? Every child is different. Every child develops differently. But let's say, for example, you have a 2-year-old and they're only using maybe 20 words or so. They should be using more words than that. So that's a red flag. So there is a set guideline, but I'll be sitting here talking to you all day. About that. But as far as exiting the plan, once we evaluate the child, we establish something called a plan of care. Those plan of care have different goal points, and they have mastery criteria. When they meet that mastery criteria, we'll either move them up to the next step and say, now we've mastered this, now we need to build on what we've learned, and we need to go to the next step. Or if they're good to go, they're doing good, we're going to exit them from the program. So we really like to take a family-centered approach. We also talk to the parents and see what are your goals for your child as well. And so once we have that, and once we see, okay, little Johnny is good to go, then we'll release you.
Okay, yeah, because we love a graduation.
And they love to hear I graduated from speech. So
What is the commitment for the parents? What does that look like? Are we talking we're coming in 3 times a week, or just it depends on where the child is?
Yes, so it just depends, but we mostly recommend starting out with twice a week. So the sessions are 30-minute sessions, and so twice a week, just a starting point, and that will depend on their age, because for a little toddler, they can't sit for 45 minutes to an hour, right? So we kind of limit that time, and we just ask for parents to carry over what we're doing in therapy, just make sure they're implementing at home as well.
What are some other signs when it comes to the older kids? With the younger kids, that was a great point with the number of words. But when it comes to the older kids, what are some things that parents should look out for when it comes to maybe a delay in language development?
Really going back to that frustration.
Okay.
Really going back to that shutting down. Really going back to, okay, maybe they're not forming sentences like their peers. Just being clear in their message, being intentional about their messaging. If they are unable to do those things, I've had children as old as 4th and 5th grade start speech therapy services. So it just depends on the child. If they're not able to express themselves in a way that they should be, that is a warning sign from an older child as well.
Is this something that could be covered by insurance as well?
Yes, so we currently accept insurance, commercial and Medicaid plans with United Healthcare and Blue Cross Blue Shield. So basically it just depends on your plan, but most plans fully cover the speech therapy services, and we also have private pay options as well.
Okay, great info, lady.
And we have
on this.
open availability.
Yes.
Right now in the Houston area, a lot of the speech therapy clinics have 3 months,
a
6
6
months, a
month,
year
yeah.
waiting list even.
Oh, wow.
And so with us being such a new practice, we do have open availability to help those kiddos out. So if you're on a waiting list or
Yes.
whatever the case may be, call us up and we can see how we can help.
And also we have appointments for after school and as well as weekends.
And
because we
then-
just want to make sure it's accessible to parents, you know, once they get off work, they can bring them in, or even the weekends when they have extra time.
And then we do have people watching from all over the nation. So are you able to do virtual sessions as well?
Absolutely.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
service virtual clients as well. So they don't have to be in the state of Texas as long as we're in network, or they want to do out of pocket if we're not. We are more than willing to do some virtual consultations with the parent, to do the evaluations, and to do the therapy. We are here to help.
Yes.
Any way we can.
Any way possible.
Excellent. Well, we
Yes.
appreciate that, and we can't wait to hear all that chattering from the kids.
Yes. So parents, if your child is a chatterbox, that's a good thing.
That's a
We'll
good-
keep them talking.
Oh yeah, I definitely have one of those. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Just a couple minutes.
Got the feeling. Come back to me.
Thank you to the Pediatric World of Therapy and Good Reason Houston for being here today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube page, Chattin with Chelsea. Keep up with us on social at Chelsea Fox 26, and we'll see you on the next Chattin with Chelsea.
Come back to me.